Over 10 years in a wheelchair, then a human fitted her with robotic legs. For 10 long years, Commander Daylin had not felt the ground beneath her feet. She remembered what it felt like, the firmness of stone, the warmth of sunlight on metal platforms, the powerful pull of gravity on her tall Valari frame. But those memories were fading. Now she moved through the world in silence, seated in a smooth anti-gravity chair that floated a few inches above the floor. It was advanced. It was elegant. It was built by the greatest engineers in the Galactic Union, and she hated it. The Valari were not meant to float. They were built for gravity. Their species came from a high-gravity world called Valar Prime. Their bodies were tall and strong, their bones dense, their balance perfect. Walking was not just movement for them. It was identity. To stand tall was pride. To walk was honor. To run was freedom. Daylin had once been one of their finest commanders. She led evacuation fleets during the destruction of their homeworld. When enemy ships bombarded Valar Prime, she was the last to leave the surface. That was when it happened. A radiation burst from a collapsing orbital station hit her shuttle. The energy wave did not kill her. It destroyed her spine instead. The damage was clean, precise, terrible. Her lower body stopped responding instantly. Doctors across the Union examined her case. The finest minds from over 300 species studied her neural scans. They tested regenerative serums, nerve stimulation beams, cellular rewriting therapies. Nothing worked. The radiation had scrambled the nerve pathways too deeply. The spinal cord tissue was beyond repair. The final verdict came 1 year later. Permanent paralysis. The Union gave her the best hoverchair ever created. It was silent and stable. It responded to her thoughts. It allowed her to command ships again. But it did not let her stand. For 10 years, she commanded fleets from a seated position. For 10 years, she watched her soldiers stand at attention while she remained at eye level. For 10 years, she told herself it did not matter. But it did. The Galactic Union Medical Symposium was crowded that day. Representatives from dozens of species filled the massive circular chamber. Floating displays showed new medical discoveries, organ cloning breakthroughs, lifespan extension formulas, genetic disease cures. Daylin attended as an honored guest. She had become a symbol of survival, of resilience. But she knew the truth. She was also a reminder of failure. As she guided her chair to the designated platform, whispers moved through the chamber. Commander Daylin, the Valari hero, the one who never walks. She kept her expression calm. Valari did not show weakness in public. Then something unusual appeared on the central screen. A human face. The room quieted slightly. Humans were new to the Union. Only 12 years since first contact. They were still being studied by most species. Their technology was impressive but unpredictable. Their culture was considered intense, emotional, sometimes reckless. The human on the screen looked young compared to other species doctors. "My name is Dr. Elias Moreau," he said. His voice was steady. "I am requesting authorization to review Commander Daylin's spinal condition." A low murmur spread across the chamber. One of the senior medical council members, a tall blue-skinned Kethri, responded immediately. "Her condition has been reviewed for a decade. There is nothing left to examine." Dr. Moreau did not look embarrassed. "With respect," he said calmly, "you attempted to repair her spine." "Yes," the Kethri answered, "and it is beyond repair." The human nodded slightly. "That is the problem." Silence followed. Daylin felt something shift inside her. Not hope. Not yet. Curiosity. "What are you suggesting, human?" asked another council member. Dr. Moreau leaned forward slightly. "I am suggesting we stop trying to fix what was lost," he said, "and instead build something new." The chamber grew colder. "Explain," Daylin said. All eyes turned to her. Dr. Moreau looked directly at her image on the screen. "Commander," he said, "humans have a long history with spinal injuries. For centuries, we were told they were impossible to reverse. We tried regeneration. We tried biological repair." "And failed?" she asked. "Yes," he said honestly. "For a long time." The room waited. Then we stopped trying to heal the spine, he continued, and started trying to bypass it. A few council members exchanged confused glances. Bypass? The Kethri repeated. Yes. Instead of reconnecting damaged nerves, we create a neural bridge, an interface that captures signals from the brain before they reach the damaged section and translates them into mechanical movement. The words hung in the air. You are suggesting prosthetics, someone said sharply. Not simple prosthetics, Dr. Morrow replied. Integrated biomechanical limbs, direct neural interface, AI-assisted motion prediction. The reaction was immediate, that is crude, mechanical dependence, primitive, unstable. The criticism came quickly from different species. Daylin listened carefully. Dr. Moreau did not interrupt. When the room quieted again, he spoke once more. Commander Daylin has lived 10 years without walking. You have given her ways to function. You have given her comfort. His voice changed slightly. But you have not given her movement. Daylin's fingers tightened slightly on the armrest of her chair. The council member turned to her. Commander, this proposal is experimental, untested on a Valari nervous system. The risk is significant. What risk? She asked calmly. Neural overload, interface rejection, system collapse, permanent damage to upper motor functions. She was quiet for several seconds. Permanent damage? She repeated softly. Yes. She almost laughed. 10 years in a chair. What more could she lose? She looked again at the human's face on the display. Have you done this before? She asked. Dr. Moreau nodded. Yes, on humans. And the results? Some walked again, he said. Some ran. The chamber grew silent once more. Daylin imagined standing. She imagined feeling gravity press against her legs again. She imagined taking one step, without floating assistance. Her species believed in adaptation, survival through strength, and humans seem to survive through refusal to accept limits. The council began debating again, but she barely heard them. Finally, she raised her hand. The chamber quieted instantly. I will consider the procedure, she said. The reaction was immediate. Commander, it is dangerous. It is unnecessary. She lifted her chin slightly. For 10 years, she said, her voice steady and clear, you have told me this is impossible. The human does not say impossible. She looked directly at Dr. Moreau. He says different. The human gave a small nod. The council requested private deliberation. The session paused. Daylin guided her chair toward the exit platform. As she passed through the corridor, she felt something unfamiliar in her chest. Not hope. Hope had hurt too many times. But something else. Momentum. Behind her, in a separate hallway, Dr. Elias Moreau closed his datapad and exhaled slowly. He knew the Union thought he was reckless. Maybe he was. But humans had learned something long ago on Earth. When nature closes a door, you do not beg for it to reopen. You build another path. And this time, the path would have metal bones. Far across the stars, in a quiet medical lab prepared in advance, 2 unfinished robotic legs waited in suspended frames. They were not elegant like Union hover technology. They were strong, built for gravity, built for impact, built to move, and if Commander Daylin agreed, they would give her more than survival. They would give her back to ground. The human medical lab did not look like a Union facility. It was louder, not noisy, but alive. Machines hummed with constant energy. Screens shifted with moving data. Mechanical arms adjusted tools with sharp precision. The air smelled faintly of metal and clean ozone. Commander Daylin sat in the center of the room, her anti-gravity chair hovering quietly as always. But today felt different. Today it felt temporary. Dr. Elias Moreau stood across from her, reviewing final neural scans on a floating display. His expression was calm, but his hands moved quickly. You can still refuse, he said without looking up. Daylin's voice was steady. If I refused every dangerous mission in my life, Doctor, my species would not exist. He gave a small smile. Fair enough. Around them, a team of human engineers prepared the equipment. Unlike Union doctors who often worked in silence and perfect order, Humans spoke to each other constantly. Power core stable. Neural lattice calibrated. Signal intercept nodes ready. Their words were simple, direct. The robotic legs stood upright in a reinforced frame near the operating platform. They were powerful, not smooth and curved like Valari design, not elegant like Union hovercraft. They were built with layered carbon titanium weave, dense, strong. The joints were reinforced with shock absorbers. Small microservos lined the interior like artificial muscle fibers. They looked ready to run. Daylin studied them carefully. They are not subtle, she observed. Dr. Moreau finally looked at her. No, he agreed. They're not meant to be. She appreciated the honesty. The Galactic Union had allowed the procedure, but barely. 3 council observers stood behind a transparent barrier. They had insisted on monitoring every step. If the procedure showed signs of catastrophic neural damage, they would shut it down immediately. Dr. Moreau ignored them. His attention stayed on Naylin. The radiation damaged her spinal cord beyond repair. He explained again, though she already understood. We are not fixing that. I know. We're installing a neural intercept array just above the damaged section. It will capture motor signals from your brain before they reach the broken area. And then the signals will pass into an artificial neural bridge. That bridge connects directly to the prosthetic limbs. She tilted her head slightly. So my brain will speak to metal instead of flesh. Yes. Will it feel like my body? He paused. At first? No. Her expression did not change. And later, he met her eyes. That depends on how fast you adapt. She nodded once. Begin. The surgery took 8 hours. Human surgery was different from Union medical procedures. The Union relied heavily on automated nanotech systems that performed delicate internal repairs with minimal invasion. Humans still used machines, but they trusted their hands. Dr. Moreau led the operation personally. The neural intercept array was inserted carefully into the upper spinal region. Thousands of microscopic filaments spread outward, searching for viable nerve clusters. Each filament glowed faintly as it synced to electrical patterns. The room stayed silent, except for steady machine tones. Halfway through the procedure, one of the Union observers spoke. Neural fluctuation spike detected. Dr. Moreau did not look up. Expected. Daylin's brain patterns were shifting as foreign technology connected to her nervous system. Sweat formed along the doctor's forehead, but his movements remained precise. Stabilized signal channel B. Compensating. Power modulation at 80%. Hours passed. Finally, the intercept array locked into place. The next phase began. The robotic legs were moved closer. They were attached at the hip through reinforced biomechanical anchors. Artificial bone connectors fused with her existing skeletal structure using rapid bonding agents. The connection was not symbolic. It was permanent. By the time the final neural bridge linked to the prosthetics, the room felt heavy with tension. Dr. Moreau stepped back slightly. Initial activation test, he said quietly. Daylin was still under controlled anesthesia, but her brain activity was monitored in real time. Send light signal. A small electrical pulse moved from her motor cortex through the intercept array. The mechanical toes twitched. One of the Union observers inhaled sharply. Repeat, Dr. Moreau ordered. Another signal. This time the foot flexed, not randomly, controlled. Dr. Moreau allowed himself one breath of relief. Connection established. But this was only the beginning. Daylin regained consciousness several hours later. The room lights were dimmed. Her anti-gravity chair was gone. She was lying on a reinforced platform. For a moment, confusion filled her mind. Then she felt it. Weight, not heavy but present. She lifted her head slightly and saw them. Her new legs. They were attached. Solid, real. Metal plates reflected the soft medical lights. The joints were quiet but ready. She tried to move. Nothing happened. A wave of cold fear moved through her chest. Dr. Moreau stepped forward immediately. Easy, he said calmly. The system is still calibrating. I cannot feel them, she said. That's normal. It is not normal for me. He nodded. You're right. It's not. He adjusted a control on his wrist device. Try again. Don't force it. Just think about moving your right foot. She closed her eyes. For 10 years, she had trained herself not to think about moving her legs. Now she had to remember how. She imagined standing on Valor Prime. She imagined stepping forward during military drills. She imagined walking. Nothing. Her breathing grew uneven. I am failing, she whispered. No, Dr. Moreau said firmly. You're relearning. He increased the AI assistance level slightly. Try again. She focused harder. Right foot. Move. A faint vibration traveled through her hips. Then, the mechanical toes shifted. Small, but clear. Her eyes snapped open. I saw that, she said. Dr. Moreau smiled carefully. Yes, you did. She tried again. This time, the foot lifted slightly off the platform before dropping back down. The Union observers began speaking rapidly behind the barrier. Signal instability detected. Feedback loop forming. Warning lights flickered briefly. Suddenly, a sharp surge of neural feedback shot through the intercept array. Daylin gasped as pain flared behind her eyes. The legs jerked violently. Shut it down, one observer shouted. Dr. Moreau's hands moved fast across the controls. Stabilizing. The system powered down abruptly. Silence filled the room. Daylin lay still, breathing hard. For a moment, no one spoke. The lead Union observer stepped forward. This confirms our concerns. The neural load is too unstable. The project must be terminated. Dr. Moreau turned slowly. It was the AI limiter, he said. Excuse me? The assist protocol is restricting adaptation speed. It's trying to protect her nervous system by slowing signal integration. And that caused a surge. No, he said quietly. The surge happened because her brain is pushing harder than the limiter allows. The observer narrowed his eyes. Your conclusion? Dr. Moreau looked at Daylin, then back at the council members. She doesn't need restriction, he said. She needs synchronization. You are suggesting increasing the neural load? The observer asked in disbelief. Yes. That is reckless. Maybe, Dr. Moreau admitted. But humans learned something about recovery a long time ago. And what is that? Sometimes the body doesn't heal by being protected, he said. Sometimes it heals by being challenged. The room fell silent again. Daylin slowly pushed herself upright using her arms. Her voice was steady despite the pain. Remove the limiter, she said. Commander, the observer began. She looked directly at him. For 10 years, you protected me from risk. Her gaze shifted to her motionless legs. I would like to try strength instead. Dr. Moreau did not hesitate. He adjusted the AI core settings. Limiter, disabled. Adaptive prediction, active. Full synchronization mode, engaged. He looked at her one more time. Ready? Daylin inhaled slowly. Yes. The system powered back on. This time, there were no safety cushions. No hesitation. The neural bridge connected directly to her intent. Energy flowed. The mechanical legs hummed softly as internal systems aligned. Move, Dr. Moreau said quietly. She focused, not gently, not carefully. She commanded. Her right leg lifted smoothly off the platform. No delay, no twitch. Controlled. Her left leg followed. The room was completely silent. For the first time in 10 years, both her feet were off the ground. Because she was holding them there, her heart pounded. It responds, she whispered. Dr. Moreau's voice was almost proud. No, he corrected softly. It listens. The room felt smaller than before. Maybe it was not the size that changed. Maybe it was the moment. Commander Daylin sat on the reinforced medical platform, her new mechanical legs resting against the floor. They were still, quiet, waiting. Dr. Elias Moreau stood a few steps away, watching the data scroll across his wrist display. The AI synchronization numbers were rising steadily. Behind the observation barrier, the Union Council members remained silent. No one spoke now, because everyone understood. The next thing she tried to do would change everything. For 10 years, she had not attempted to stand, not even once. In the beginning, she had tried in private. She had ordered the room cleared. She had placed her hands on support rails and commanded her body to rise. Nothing had happened. After the first year, she stopped trying. After the third year, she stopped dreaming about it. After the fifth year, she stopped remembering how it felt. Now she looked down at metal instead of flesh. Stronger, heavier, different. Dr. Moreau stepped closer. "The system is stable," he said calmly, "but standing uses more complex balance control. The AI will assist, but will follow your lead." She nodded. Her voice was steady, but quiet. "If I fall, we lift you," he replied simply. That answer was enough. "Begin when ready," he said. Daylin placed both hands beside her on the platform. Slowly, she moved her right foot forward. The motion was smooth, precise. No delay. Her left foot followed. She inhaled deeply. Her mechanical legs adjusted automatically, internal gyros shifting to stabilize her center of gravity. Tiny servos made faint clicking sounds as they prepared for weight transfer. For the first time in 10 years, she shifted her weight forward. Nothing happened at first. Fear tried to rise inside her chest. The old fear, the memory of trying and failing. But this time, something was different. She could feel resistance. Not pain, not emptiness. Resistance. Her legs were pushing back against the floor. They were ready to carry her. "Trust them," Dr. Moreau said softly. She did not look at him. She focused only on one command. Stand. Her arms pressed downward. Her legs engaged. Power flowed through the neural bridge. The artificial muscles tightened. And slowly, her body rose. At first, only a few inches. Her balance wavered. The AI adjusted instantly, correcting micro-movements before she even noticed them. She rose higher. The platform edge moved lower in her vision. Her breathing became sharp and fast. Then, she was no longer touching the platform. She was standing. The room froze. No one moved. No one spoke. Commander Daylin stood on her own two legs. Her back straightened slowly. Her shoulders lifted. For 10 years, the world had always been slightly above her eye level. Now it was not. Now she was tall again. Very tall. Taller than Dr. Moreau. The human looked up at her with wide eyes. "Well," he said quietly, "that looks correct." She did not laugh. Her eyes were wide, scanning the room from a higher angle she had not seen in a decade. "I remember this," she whispered. Her voice trembled. She tightened her stance slightly. The metal joints responded perfectly. She took a breath. "Step," Dr. Moreau said gently. Her right foot moved forward. The motion was careful. The floor felt firm beneath the artificial sole. Not floating, not gliding. Solid. Her weight shifted naturally. Her left foot followed. One step. Small, controlled, but real. The union observers behind the barrier stared in complete silence. One of them slowly lowered his data tablet. She took another step, this one stronger. The sound of metal contacting the floor echoed lightly through the lab. Step, step. Each movement became smoother, more confident. The AI was no longer leading. It was matching her, learning her rhythm. Then something unexpected happened. She walked past the edge of the platform area and into the open floor. No support rails, no guidance lines, just open space. Her body remembered more than she thought. Her stride lengthened. Her posture straightened further. Step, step, step. Then she stopped. Her head tilted slightly. Dr. Moreau saw the shift instantly. "What is it?" he asked. She looked ahead toward the far wall of the lab. There was a long stretch of empty floor, 30 meters, unobstructed. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "When I was young," she said slowly, "Valari children were tested in high-gravity sprint trials." Dr. Moreau blinked. "This is not a sprint trial," he said carefully. She did not answer. Instead, she bent her knees slightly. The mechanical joints compressed with controlled precision. The shock absorbers tightened. Dr. Moreau's eyes widened. "Commander, wait!" She pushed off the ground and ran. The first step was powerful. The second step faster. By the third step, She was accelerating rapidly across the floor. The mechanical legs absorbed impact smoothly, converting force into forward motion. The AI adjusted instantly to higher speed calculations. The observers shouted in alarm behind the barrier. She is exceeding balance thresholds. Power output rising. But Daylin did not hear them. Wind rushed past her face. Her body leaned forward naturally. The room blurred slightly at the edges. For 10 years, she had only floated. Now she was moving with force. Each step felt stronger than the last. The mechanical legs were built for gravity-heavy environments. On this lighter Union station, they felt almost effortless. She reached the far wall faster than expected. Dr. Moreau's heart nearly stopped. But at the last second, she pivoted. Clean, controlled, perfect balance. And ran back. When she finally slowed near the center of the room, her breathing was fast, but not strained. She stopped completely, standing tall, still balanced. No shaking, no collapse. Silence filled the lab. Absolute silence. Then, a soft sound, not from the machines, not from the observers. From her. She laughed. It was quiet at first, then stronger. Not wild, not emotional in chaos, but full, alive. I can feel the ground, she said. Dr. Moreau swallowed. Yes, he replied. She looked down at her legs. They are stronger than before, she said. He nodded. They were built that way. She turned slowly toward the observation barrier. The Union council members stared back at her. None of them were speaking now, because this was no longer a medical aid demonstration. This was something else. She walked toward them slowly, each step steady, purposeful. When she stopped in front of the barrier, she stood at her full height. I was told, she said calmly, that walking again was impossible. No one answered. She placed one mechanical foot firmly against the floor. The sound echoed lightly. Perhaps, she continued, you were trying to repair what was broken. Her gaze shifted briefly toward Dr. Moreau. The human did not try to repair. She looked back at the council. He built forward. The barrier door slowly opened. The lead council member stepped inside, cautiously. He looked up at her. You understand, he said carefully, that this changes many things. Yes, she replied. It may create demand across species. It may cause political division. She tilted her head slightly. For 10 years, she said, division was not your concern when I remained seated. The council member had no answer. Behind her, Dr. Moreau finally allowed himself to breathe normally again. The data readings were stable. Power consumption optimal. Neural integration improving with every second. She was not just standing. She was adapting. Daylin turned her head toward the human. Doctor, yes. She took one more step forward. Not experimental. Not cautious. Natural. When do we test higher gravity? Dr. Moreau stared at her for a moment. Then he smiled slowly. Soon, he said. Very soon. The video spread across the galaxy in less than 12 hours. At first, it was only an internal Union recording. A simple medical log of an experimental procedure. But someone leaked it. Maybe a young technician. Maybe one of the council observers. No one admitted it. But suddenly, on thousands of worlds, beings were watching the same scene. Commander Daylin, standing, then walking, then running. Again and again, the moment replayed. The second where she rose from the platform. The sound of metal feet striking the floor. The look on her face when she realized she was no longer limited. Across the Galactic Union, reactions exploded. Some were amazed. Some were afraid. Some were angry. On a low-gravity moon colony, a former soldier watched the footage with shaking hands. He had lost both legs in a mining accident 5 years earlier. They said I should be grateful for hover support, he whispered. On a water world where gravity crushed most species, deep-sea workers stared at the mechanical design. Those legs could handle our surface pressure, one engineer murmured. On a medical research station orbiting a red dwarf star, scientists replayed the neural bridge interface data again and again. They did not repair the spine, one said in disbelief. They replaced the pathway. The idea was simple, but dangerous. Because it changed something bigger than medicine. It changed belief. The Union Council called an emergency session. The chamber was more crowded than ever before. This time, Commander Lin did not float into the room. She walked. Every step echoed clearly against the polished floor. The entire chamber fell silent as she entered. Many had seen the video, but seeing it in person was different. She stood taller than most species in the room. Her mechanical legs were visible beneath her formal Valari robes. They were not hidden. They were not disguised. They were part of her. Dr. Elias Moreau stood near the human delegation platform, hands folded calmly behind his back. The council leader spoke first. Commander Lin, your recovery has caused significant reaction. I am aware, she replied evenly. You understand that this technology may destabilize social balance within the Union? She tilted her head slightly. Explain. There are species whose biology limits them. Species that evolved under fragile conditions. If enhancement technology spreads freely, power differences may increase. Lin listened carefully. And when has power ever been equal? She asked calmly. The chamber grew quiet. Another council member spoke. This is not about equality. It is about identity. If biological limits are removed, what defines a species? Dr. Moreau finally stepped forward. Adaptation defines a species, he said simply. Several council members turned toward him. You speak boldly for a new member of this union, one said. Dr. Moreau shrugged lightly. Humans have always been new somewhere. A faint ripple of uneasy laughter passed through a few delegates. The council leader raised a hand for silence. The concern remains, he said. Are we witnessing medical recovery or the beginning of biological escalation? All eyes turned back to Lin. She stood calmly. Then she did something unexpected. She walked to the center of the chamber floor. No podium, no barrier, just open space. For 10 years, she had addressed this council seated. Now she stood before them. You all tried to help me, she said. Her voice was steady and clear. And I am grateful. She paused. But for 10 years, your help was built around my limitation. Silence. You designed comfort around my immobility. Her mechanical foot shifted slightly against the floor. The human did something different. She looked briefly toward Dr. Moreau. He did not design around my weakness. Her gaze returned to the council. He designed around my strength. The chamber remained silent. For 10 years, she continued, you gave me ways to survive. Her voice softened slightly. He gave me back momentum. The words hung heavily in the air, because momentum meant movement. Movement meant change, and change frightened many species. Outside the council chamber, protests were forming across different systems. Some groups demanded access to human enhancement technology immediately. Others demanded it be banned. Mechanical dependence is corruption, one anti-augmentation group declared. Freedom from limitation is evolution. Another group responded. The Union stood at a dividing line. Meanwhile, inside a secure human laboratory, requests flooded in. Veterans from multiple species, explorers injured in dangerous missions, workers disabled by accidents, even children born with nerve disorders, all asking the same question.